was anti-climb. That's not my screen. God, what a start. Hello, welcome to Coding Badly. My name is Joe, and I've forgotten how to use StreamYard. Let me add on my co-host. Welcome, Kevin, to the stage.
That's not my face.
We're screaming today. That's how we're doing things. Hello, Kevin. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you.
Excellent.
Better than you, I think.
Yeah. I'm also a mess. I apologise in advance. I've been painting a shed. Welcome. If you are new here, this isn't a show about screaming. This is a show about Battlesnake. What is Battlesnake, you may ask? Battlesnake is a programming game where you write the brain for a little snake that takes part in a competitive game of Snake. It's a programming game for folks of all kinds of experience levels, but is super fun, and you can get into all kinds of nonsense, which is what this show is about. Here on Coding Badly, we try to push the limits of what is possible with Battlesnake by doing fun things like an entirely Blockly based snake, a snake powered by your face, or what we are currently doing, which is a relay. I'm not going to put my slides up because I've still got spring branding, but let me tell you about the relay. So the relay is pretty much what it sounds like on the tin. Just like a relay race, we have a baton being handed from racer to racer. We have one Battlesnake being handed from
A cursed baton.
A very cursed baton at this point. Imagine a relay with a baton, except like every racer does something more terrible to the baton before they pass it on. That's kind of what's going on here. So we have one Battlesnake. It is being passed from developer to developer. Every show, a different developer gets their hands on it. And today is episode 6. So our guest today, who, as alluded to in chat, is a surprise, is the 6th developer to get their hands on the snake. And this snake has been on a journey. It started as JavaScript. It's now no longer JavaScript. Well, kind of is.
It was JavaScript. It was JavaScript for all of like 5 minutes.
Yeah. We were like, hey, all developers, like loads of JavaScript is like the lingua franca, everyone will be fine with that. Immediately it turned into Go via WASM, so it's still JavaScript, but calling to Go via WASM. Then a later guest converted it to TypeScript, so the core was still TypeScript, but calling this Go library via WASM. And then Penelope was like, I actually just prefer Go, so now the majority of the snake is written in Go, and the TypeScript isn't really doing anything at all. So yeah, that's where we are. We've had a last minute change of guest. We were meant to be joined by someone who unfortunately real life happened, as it does. And so we are super lucky to be joined by a surprise guest. And before I introduce them, just a reminder that you can see the snake and all of its code, and I've got paint stuck to my arm in a really painful way, the snake and all of its code at the repo below, github.com/jonash/coding badly relay. In that README, you will find a table with all of the guests and the dates in which they came on, and the link to their commits, so you can actually follow through and see what everyone is to blame for. You can see exactly who did what. So, on that bombshell, let me add our surprise guest for the day to the screen. Hello, Rob, how are you doing? Let me do this. That's me. Let's put Rob there. Hello. For folks not familiar with you, would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure, yeah. So my name's Rod. I'm one of the Battlesnake developers, mostly working at the moment on the engine that runs the games in the back end, and some of the open source rules repo that we have.
Very nice.
So, yeah.
Very topical. Yeah, I'm very grateful you decided to join us because, as we just kind of discussed, an early addition to the snake was the use of the rules repo via WASM. Kevin and I don't know Go. Half our guests haven't known Go. Penelope's in chat. Penelope learnt Go just for the stream. And so it's nice to have someone who actually knows what's going on the stream.
Yeah.
So welcome.
That might be a bit of a stretch.
Yeah, we'll see.
I think I'm more comfortable with the Go side, so we'll see how the TypeScript bit goes.
Low. Yeah, I mean, TypeScript's not really doing anything. TypeScript's not really doing anything. So,
hang on. A retraction. We must be accurate. Penelope has been coding Go for years, and just straight up.
Sorry. It was It was TypeScript. Penelope learned the weekend before the stream. I'm sorry, Penelope. Not Go. TypeScript.
That was our retraction and apology.
Yes. Yeah. Sorry. Formally retracted. Let me be struck from the record. I will go back through the VOD and erase my erroneous facts. But you did learn a language for the stream, and that is notable. And then it wasn't needed whatsoever. Anyway, so Rob, you have a variety of ideas. Shall we throw your editor on the screen and get going?
Yeah, sounds good.
Cool. Alrighty, and as ever, chat, Kevin and I will be here to watch for your comments and questions. Let us know if the sound is wonky at any point. Kevin's covering up half the logo, so our stream just says badly, and I'm kind of here for that, so we're going to leave that there. Perfect. All right. So, first of all, something which we haven't really been doing with guests, but really we should have been, because everyone's editor setup has been slightly different. What have we got going on here? This is VS Code, but we have 2 terminals. What is running in these terminals?
Yeah, I got VS Code, and I've got one terminal running the Snake, and I got another terminal just running the shell. I tried to set things up properly where I was actually running the Snake and exposing it through ngrok and putting it into the Battlesnake UI. Then I decided it'd be more fun to just cheat and use my local version of the engine. So what I'm actually doing here is I can just trigger games on my local engine and just put them up on the board.
What's even the point of having a Battlesnake developer on the stream if we can't just use the dev environment?
Yeah, I thought it might be fun to make some crazy game modes too. We could have hazards heal you or ultra wrapped or something like that. I don't know.
Oh, you got to be careful if you start making game modes live on stream. That will really unleash the request seal, and the entire community will storm in here for all of their deranged game mode requests.
I hope so.
That'd actually be a really good stream. Brad, take note. Cool. So, where are we in the code?
So yeah, I had some fun times exploring this code base. I didn't really, as of yesterday, I found out I was going to be joining.
Yeah,
so,
you haven't had the 2 weeks we usually give people.
Yeah, so I'm much less prepared than Penelope was. Like, I didn't learn TypeScript, I got it working. Wasn't too bad. I think it has improved in stability since since the last episode. I was surprised actually because I think I might be misremembering here, but I think the last episode ended with Minimax implemented mostly in JavaScript, and then when I picked it up, there was a whole Minimax implementation in Go instead.
Yeah, so Penelope, we ended that stream with Penelope saying that she was going to do some stuff on her stream, and then what she ended up doing was rewriting everything she had done in Go, which wasn't entirely... There was some debate about whether that was within the rules of the relay, but we decided to let it pass because it was hilarious. So that is what happens.
Well, it seems to be working. The one thing I ran into was that's interesting, and I'm curious if anyone in chat knows more about this, is there seems to be an ongoing bug, and I'm sure I've seen somebody run into this on one of the prior streams, where if you print anything out from the Go code, it just locks up the Snake.
Yes. Yes. You get one print. Yeah.
You get one print. Okay.
You get one print. And Penelope, if you're still in chat, I distinctly recall a moment in your stream where you said you were going to investigate that because you didn't believe us. But I don't remember, or I don't think I saw the conclusion of that investigation. Did you have a breakthrough with the Go console logging? Is the Go console logging still... Because Corey knew about this. So Corey, for folks who haven't been following, Corey is the person who introduced this Rube Goldberg mess of Go being compiled to WASM being run by JavaScript into our Snake. Perfect. Penelope has answered. I'll read that in a sec. So Corey knew about this. And Penelope has found a solution. So format.println works, format.printf does not work. Does that align with what you've discovered, Rob? Your face says no.
I don't remember. Okay, so hang on. I actually have a... There was one really interesting thing I ran into right when I started getting this up. It took me a while to figure out because I ran it first. The Snake was timing out, even locally. And I thought, it's because, the Minimax needs to be optimized or something like that. No, it was just the print line thing. It turns out that it's currently coded to go to a depth of 3, and then there's a... Hang on. I'll just break it again. I don't know if you can see that down there. There's a if depth equals 3 print line, and that was causing it to lock up. I'll just show what happens. I mean, I'm pretty sure it'll break again. Wrong window. One sec, I'll just open up the actual board for the game I just triggered.
Oh, okay. Well, Penelope said if you print anything, then you'll time out. But then she also said it worked on Computer.
Also, I'm gonna be that person. So I haven't been here for the last couple of episodes, new baby and all that. But I did this evening or this afternoon watch Penelope's stream, and I remember Penelope being enraged with the phrase "worked on my computer." So I just wanted to bring us full circle on that one.
Well, look, when have we ever coding badly is purely a do what I say, not what I do stream. That's totally fine.
Okay, let me just pull this up.
Doing a screen share swap. Okay, we have a game.
Cool. So yeah, if I just step through this, times out, and I'm giving it 2,500 milliseconds. But I mean, it's pretty fast when it works normally, and runs off the screen. So I thought it was broken, but actually it's really just this one small change. I think it's in board helpers. Yeah, so it's doing a print line here, not doing a printf. Let me just confirm this.
Penelope's response, this is none of my ideas are good. So I think this is going to continue to be cursed. Which, to be honest, like, you know, I consider this a gift. Here on Coding Badly, we've had too much good code this season, and so ensuring that none of our guests can actually test what they're writing via restricting them to one print statement brings us back to a level with which we're all comfortable, I think.
Yeah, I just deleted that print line. Let's just see if it is happy now. It might be.
2,500 milliseconds, I guess not.
Yeah, that works. And it won. So
cool. So yeah, no print line's fine.
So no print lines at all. I mean, I guess you can have your one, but that's not going to be through a game. Yeah. So.
Torb says, whenever there's a weird thing, there's something interesting to be learned. Yeah, honestly, it is. Oh, I see. Okay, so sorry, before I go on this ramble about our current theory of why this happened. Penelope said the multi-printing worked, but it does cause timeouts because of the output volume, because there's just so many statements being created.
Oh, okay. Output volume. That's interesting. Yeah, I mean, I assume it's something deep in the WASM binding, right?
Yeah.
Like somehow whatever actually gets called for the format functions to actually print stuff out, like whatever binds that to, I guess it's console.log maybe, or maybe write to standard out.
Yeah, and also there is, I don't know how much you looked into the WASM binding, but there is an absolutely ridiculous piece of code to keep, I think it was to keep the Go program awake or something.
Yes.
Whilst the JavaScript is running. Yeah, it's like proper eldritch stuff going on.
Yes, so, janky. Penelope did also say she used Node 16. I remember from watching just a few hours ago that you went down a rabbit hole and found out it was just your Node versions. So you might want to be checking that too.
Okay, I think I followed Penelope's most recent instructions, and they did work for me, and that included setting up Node 16. So
Great.
I think we're good there.
Yeah. So things being broken aside, what are we doing? No, 17. Okay. That's the late. That's not even latest LTS. That's just latest, right?
Yeah, 16's LTS. 18 just came out in October. That becomes that gets promoted to LTS.
Okay. Well, I was using 16 yesterday. I think I've just switched terminals and probably screwed up my NVM. So probably just that. But I don't think switching to 16 is going to help me here. I'm guessing
no.
They didn't make the bindings for WASM somehow worse with a new Node version.
We're at the forefront.
Yeah. Okay, so yeah, I mean, I think there's like a couple of things we could change here with it working. There's the heuristic here,
yes.
Which I thought was pretty interesting because it is fairly basic so far.
Yeah.
I don't know all of the consequences of changing this. I haven't written my own Minimax implementation, so it's a bit like stumbling around in the dark. But
yeah, I've not written one since university, but understand what's happening with the scoring here and how that works. And Penelope was very generous to leave us with a minimax function that's easy to extend. So this seems like a safe place to mess around.
Yeah, so I thought it might be fun to try and make like a really hungry snake here, maybe. I did run into, if I run a solo match, it tends to starve out surprisingly often.
Right.
And I think some of that, maybe it's just the depth. Like if it's only going to a depth of 3, maybe it can easily just get to the wrong side of the board from the food.
Oh, well, I mean, it's only... The only 2 checks it's doing is if it dies or if it's the longest snake. So it's always going to be the longest snake because it's the only snake on it. So it's going to be returning 0.8 for every move. So no, it's not. So that, is it the longest snake, will sometimes select for food because it will, become longer than another snake. But on its own, that's never going to be the case. So it will always select an empty square with an equal cause to a full square. So yeah, that's a good catch.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, it's probably more fun to have it running against another snake, even if it's just the dumb bot that I have it running against right now. Yeah, I thought it might be fun. I wonder if, so like looking at this here, like you said, it's obviously setting you to the worst possible score if you've been eliminated, which makes sense. And then it's actually saying if you're the only snake, then just give you a fixed score.
Yeah.
If you're not the longest snake, you get 0, which I guess is kind of a neutral score.
Yeah, I think it's 1 to -1.
And then otherwise, okay. And then otherwise, you get kind of that default score again if you are the longest snake.
Yeah.
So I wonder could we do something here around the health maybe? Like maybe it'd be fun to say you get a higher score if your health is higher, and then maybe that will make it eat more often.
Yeah, that should definitely select for. Well, that should select for if it's got, if it's looking at 3 moves around it and one of them has a food in it, that will definitely choose for that. So yeah, that seems like a really good and easy way to start doing food. We also have a suggestion to do the Manhattan distance to the nearest food.
What does that mean?
That's work. The Manhattan distance is like the going via like verticals and horizontals.
Cool.
Yeah, that does sound like a lot of work. I prefer to just do small, stupid things and see if they make a difference.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's see. So we kind of have 2 defaults here. Let's see. So I'm just trying to think whether I should adjust both of these. I'm going to leave it because who cares about solo? So if we were to say, I guess we could either just return a fixed value, like if you've eaten recently, then you get a higher score. Let's just try that, see if it makes a difference.
Just like, well, I mean, if I actually realize I've made an assumption about how this works, this is on the next board state it gets back from the, like, running the rules engine, right? Is what it's scoring. So it's on, like, it's getting, this heuristic function is running on a simulated board state. So if it hits a food, we'll have a board state that, like, has a snake with 100 health in it. Does that make sense? This is what am I even explaining this properly?
I think so. Yeah.
Cool. Okay. Perfect. Yeah.
Actually, one thing I'm curious about, does this get run on every step throughout, like, the choice of turns, or is this heuristic only being scored on the end state? I haven't read carefully enough to actually know that for sure.
Yeah, I haven't read this implementation, but usually you run it on every step, and then, or is this alpha beta pruning I'm thinking of? The one that's in my head is you run it on every state in the branch, and then you take the branch with the highest total score. But that may be alpha beta pruning that's in my head. As I said, haven't done this since university. Penelope says the heuristic is only applied to the leaves of the search tree, so yes, only the end state.
Okay, cool. All right, that's interesting. So that means if I do this, it's going to be optimizing for having just eaten in 3 turns at all times. I don't know what that's going to do. We'll find out.
You'll get called on each state 3 moves ahead of the current one.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense. Cool. So if we were to say something like your health greater than 90, if I just return 1.0, is that like, will that
Out of
like overclock it? Will
curiosity,
it blow up?
why are we returning fixed values? Is I assume the way this would work is you start with 0, which is neutral, and you alter it up and down. Because right now, the multiple criteria could be met, and surely they would
Overwrite each
all
other. It should be
Yeah.
adding something to the score. That's actually
or
a very
remove
good
it
point.
or
Yeah.
removing it.
Yeah.
That probably makes sense. Yeah, I'm literally just going for the laziest possible option here.
Yeah,
to
let's see
make a
if this
difference.
does something, and then
Yeah,
we can
see if
adjust
it
the
works.
tuning, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Incidentally, this is like, this is where the what is the word I'm thinking of?
I don't know, only you do, Joe.
The evolutionary algorithm. That's not the name of it. Don't paint a shed before a stream. But yeah, this is where people use whatever the computer science thing is, where you make evolution happen. They have a heuristic powered snake, and then they're doing like tuning over successive generations to choose actually what the scoring is for each case.
Reinforcement learning.
No, that's
Penelope.
genetic algorithm. Thank you,
algorithm?
Torb. Yes. Thank you. Torb got me. No, Penelope, I don't know anything about machine learning. Evidently, I don't know anything about genetic algorithms either, but I at least know they exist.
I think that might have worked. It looked more hungry.
You look more alive. I mean, run it with us. You said you saw this happening with a solo game.
I think with the solo game, what it looked like it was doing was
Yeah.
actually avoiding food, or possibly
Okay.
just ignoring food.
Well, I mean,
But it
try
seemed
it
to,
with a
like-
solo game and see what happens.
Yeah, okay, we can give that a try. I think I had a solo example here.
But that won't touch
solo.
food because it will return the value when it hits that piece of logic, right? Because we're not altering a number, we're just as soon as it, because one of those items in the heuristic.
Oh,
File
yeah. Hang on. That's after
was-
you're the longest. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's true. That's a good point.
What we've done
Yes.
probably does nothing. Good catch.
I mean, maybe this is a good time to do things Kevin's way, because I think
Yeah.
it does sound smarter.
Yeah.
So if we were to say something like,
Do you want to swap back to your code editor?
oh
Sorry.
yeah.
I've never had anyone say, "Let's do it. Let's go with Kevin's
Let's do it
suggestion."
Kevin's
Before.
way.
This is a highlight for me. But yeah, if we start with like a score of 0 and then these criteria alter the value, and then we return the value at the end.
I mean, I think we can leave that eliminated cause one. Like, if you die, yeah, that's fine.
Okay, so yeah, if you die, return -1. That makes sense.
Sure. Yeah.
If
you are the longest snake,
maybe we just like
wanna-
add something for that. So we
Yeah.
just like
Also,
get rid of this.
I'm confused. Are you the longest snake or are you the only snake? Maybe I'm confused about how this works.
So this is what we were saying. So Rob was saying that in a solo game, it tends to starve out, and that's probably because of this. Because the only thing it was doing to optimize for food before was looking for states in which it became the longest snake. So this always returns true if it's on its own. So it never chooses cells with more food. Yeah.
Okay,
Cool.
so I think that's what it's doing right now, right?
Yeah, the comment was deceiving. The inference, I wasn't understanding the inference there.
Yeah. that
And
makes
yeah,
sense.
Penelope's right. If you're the only snake, you are the longest snake, but you could also be the longest snake not in a solo game, which is why I was getting confused that they were being spoken about interchangeably.
Yep, that makes sense.
So yeah, I guess if we're the longest snake, I don't know what any score. I don't know how to base scoring, so I don't know. Add 0.2. That seems like a reasonable amount.
Sure. Sounds
Sure.
good.
As long as it's higher than neutral, it's doing something, isn't it? So then on that we want to take away something or just add 0? No, this is
I'm
returning
assuming-
zeros. Yeah,
I'm assuming being the longest snake is a good thing here, right?
yeah, that's what we're trying to do.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, cool.
How about this?
Oh, I see.
Does that work?
So do you also want to change the longest snake bonus in the bit above where you do score plus 0.2? Have I understood what you were doing there? Possibly not.
It's probably just I don't understand what I'm doing.
Okay.
You're the only snake. I guess maybe we just want to do like an if else here.
Sure.
Yeah.
What is actually... Oh, hang on, no, hang on. Wait. Why are we doing a for loop here?
Because we're
We're
seeing
trying
if any of the other snakes are longer, line 24, than
I
us.
get it, I understand. Okay, sorry, I completely was doing a stupid.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think what I'm doing here is like if you're the only snake, then you get that 0.2 bonus by default, which I guess is kind of useless because it's it's not going to do anything. You're just going to get a flat bonus all the time. Maybe I should just go not equal to 1.
Yeah. The only challenge here is we're not capping. So it's no longer 1 to -1. I don't think it matters terribly.
Yeah.
Because we could exceed 1 potentially.
Yeah, I guess probably the smart thing to do is like every time we add to it, we
normalize all the values so the maximum is 1. Yeah.
Yeah.
You can just do that.
Or we can just
return it
make
at the
things
end
up
of
as we go along and probably break it all.
Yeah, totally fine. That's what we're here for.
Score plus longest.
Penelope says it does not matter if the scores range -1 to 1.
I was more making a comment that we should take note that that is no longer a range that is relevant.
Cool.
Why is score? Does it not like the? Is this not a float 32? Is that what's going on? I should probably look at the error. That might be a nice idea. Yeah, it's just go being go. Make me do that, then it probably won't complain. Oh no, it will complain. Okay. So we now have a score starting at 0. We just flat set it to -1 if you're dead.
Yep.
If there's more than one snake, then we do this whole thing where we start off with a bonus and we remove that bonus if you're not the longest snake. Then we add that bonus to it. If your health is greater than 90, then we add 0.5.
Cool.
And then we return it.
Perfect.
That looks good.
We can see what that will do.
It will run, which is good progress.
Yeah.
Actually started an episode on this relay and it's running. This is like miles ahead. Miles ahead of everyone else.
Yeah, I've barely broken it at all yet. I'm a little bit behind, so we can get to breaking it soon enough. Okay, so if we were to do the
swap me.
Did we want to see the solo or did we want to see the standard? I can't remember what we were actually trying to achieve here.
Well, you saw the starving out problem in solo, so testing on solo seems good. Oh, Penelope says I checked in the script to run it.
I put it in the wrong window again. Hang on.
Oh, we're getting game states. That looked like a short game. Oh no, that's a... Whoa, okay. 300 turns. Dang.
Yeah, the last one was about that as well. It just ran
was
very
it?
quickly.
Okay.
Yeah, it was like 340 something.
Yeah, bear with me here.
All good.
I keep accidentally attaching the board windows I'm opening up to StreamYard, and then also go sideways.
We have a
Okay.
very inelegant situation. Yeah, that... I think
Seems
that's
a little
correct,
hungrier than before. I mean, before it definitely looked like it was deliberately avoiding food, which I guess sort of makes sense because it probably is easier to find states even 3 turns ahead the shorter you are that don't kill you. And this one's kind of interesting, I guess.
Fun.
So if I understand how the algorithm works, it probably died here because it's only looking 3 turns ahead, right? So when it gets to here, it's like, this is fine. This is still fine. This is fine. This is not fine.
Or even more
But now it can't do
crucially,
anything
when it
about
actually does the bend.
Yeah. So I guess, I don't know, I guess if we were smart there, we could probably have like a flood fill as part of the heuristic, and then it would it would look
You'd
left
have
and
it-
right and decide on right or decide on left because it has a little bit more space, maybe.
if the
And can we-
if the
and what is
directions
a-
flood for space.
Oh, what's a flood fill for those who don't know?
Oh,
Oh
sure.
yeah, sure. So it's an algorithm where essentially what you're saying is like in every direction that you want to evaluate, you're just going to see how many squares you can flood. Like if you're like every square you can touch. So it's not
Where
trying
there's
to
more
like
space to go. The
yeah,
biggest
exactly.
space.
So it's a sort of easier to intermediate algorithm to apply, like much easier than Minimax, I would say, because pretty much what you do is you just take all the squares you want to look at, and then you just put them in a queue, and you can kind of run through them. And each time you find a new one that you haven't seen before, you add it to the list until you've added them all up, and then you get your number.
Cool.
So we could do that. Another thing we could do that could be fun is we could convert the snake to understand wrapped mode, or every type of rule set. I don't know. Any thoughts on what might be more interesting there?
I think if we were going to make it work, well, I guess wrapped is quite easy. I mean, I think the biggest limitation is the fact it currently only works on jewels because just of the size of the tree. But tree pruning sounds hard, so maybe wrapped is easier.
Yeah, it might be. I think what jumped out at me is it actually, I think, and I might eat my words here, I think it might be not that bad because, just show my code editor again. If we were doing all this like simulation from scratch, I think it'd be hard because we'd have to actually like change the behavior we're simulating. But because we're just calling into rules, we can just be like, give me the wrapped rule set. I think.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I actually haven't gone through the process of making a snake work for wrapped yet, so I'm not even entirely sure where I'd start. But the wrapped rule, just using, I guess, if we just change it in the rules, it just won't return death for hitting a wall, and therefore it will happily go for a wall.
I think so. Yeah. I might be just making a huge assumption there that there isn't something else that breaks. I mean, maybe the possible moves here. That might be something.
There's only one way to find out. Well, there's multiple ways to find out, but the fun way to find out is to assume it won't break, right? And
yeah.
I mean, that possible moves... What will happen with that is the possible moves is for the other snakes on the board, and it's to generate states of what they might do. So what will just happen here is that we'll have the snake might never evaluate a state where an opponent could have gone for a wall, and so it might incorrectly take some head-to-heads or something.
Yeah. I mean, at the very least, based on this comment, moves that won't take them off the board. So I would assume that would preclude wrapped behavior, unless we change it, right?
I mean, as far as I remember, that was just a manual. Is that using rules now? No. What's filter for valid moves? As far as I remember, at some point there was literally just a check for the board boundaries happening.
Yeah, that looks like this.
Yeah.
So I could just delete that, or maybe we probably should delete it when we're in standard rules. Okay, let me think here. So I guess we need to at least pull in what the current rule set is from the request. Like we want it to be smart enough that we can just put it in these games. We don't want to have to keep changing the code every time we want to run it in a different game mode.
Yeah.
So jumping back into the TypeScript, which is probably going to go much worse. I think Penelope might have solved this already. Like maybe we're already parsing enough and passing it into the Go code that I can just read all of the request in Go code. We got a game state. What is a game state? Oh, it's the full thing. Cool. Okay. So I think I might not need to touch the TypeScript, which is probably good. I don't think anybody wants to see me stumble through that. Or maybe you do, but too bad. So Minimax, this is the game.js object. So I think that's that same thing we were looking at in the last file. It has this deserialization thing, which I will just assume works properly.
I do remember that being something that Penelope very passionately rewrote, so I think it's probably good.
Yeah, okay, I remember this from the stream, yeah, because before it was like JSON serialization, deserialization, now it's actually reading the objects that are being passed in.
Yes, correct. Yeah.
Okay. So, if we were to... Actually, I should double check that it's actually reading all the objects that we need. Word, food, hazard, snakes.
We're deep into the code that I have no idea how it works right now. Well, I say I don't know how it works. I mean, like, it's code I haven't looked at because it happened on a stream that I wasn't on.
It's actually making a board state, which does not, I think, have the name of the rule set. So we're going to have to completely mangle this. Sorry, Penelope. I'm just going to return like a...
Code crimes.
What if we just return like the name and the board state? And then we don't have to wrap board state in something horrible.
The rules name? Yeah, that sounds good. Yeah.
I'm also thinking if we wanted to support hazards. Oh, you know, I'm being dumb here because I think we could just make our own one that retrieves what we want. So we could say like game object.
Penelope says the crimes are fine. We have approval for crimes.
Okay, and then we're gonna actually make that. But even what it's called, I'll have to actually look at the API docs here.
We always need to do it at least once per stream.
Yep. Okay, we got a game and a rule set and a name. Okay.
Sorry, everyone, I'm going to have to request a cup of tea before I fall asleep.
It's just like, is it just going to return null or something? And it gets released out of... Okay, so the whole thing will explode if I actually get the wrong thing or it's missing. That's cool. It's probably what we want, really. Just a giant panic.
Yeah, absolutely. Stops your snake doing anything silly.
Yeah.
We wouldn't want that. We love reading docs. We do love reading docs. We don't do enough of it. I don't have my word art on this one.
Oh, I probably need to word doc get. Oh, okay, I need to like cast it with one of these string.
Oh, I don't think I have it anymore.
Okay, so now we have a game object, hopefully. And then...
Can't test it though, can't log that.
Yeah, we can't test it. We're just gonna have to see if it explodes. And I mean, I could write tests, but that seems out of spirit with the purpose of the show. So we're just gonna hand bomb it and hope for the best. Actually, wait, I didn't actually parse a game object there. I just parsed the rule set name, but I could probably just it's going to make this absurdly specific, and if anybody else needs the game, they'll have to get it themselves.
Penelope wrote some tests. When did you write tests? I don't remember that happening. Gary Hockin also wrote some tests, and also Naomi wrote some tests. We've had tests written, I just don't recall anyone using them.
Or how to run them ourselves.
There's a script now, I'm sure the script does it. Actually, it's funny, I think 4 guests now, three guests maybe, have either written a script or added to a script to run it, and no one has a subsequent guest has never used any of those scripts. If they've interacted with a script, they've always just done like a new one from scratch.
Yeah. It's recursive. Forgot about that.
Okay, Pam says you can't boot the server without running the tests.
Yeah, I've seen them. I have seen them. I was in the middle of something there, but I saw the test running.
Okay, Rob is using Penelope's script. Okay.
Yeah, they are. Hopefully I don't break them. I feel like there's somewhere in here.
Oh, I love that.
Here we go. Max.test.
Billy in chat talking about creating aggressive, overly specific tests as a way to trip up the next person. If we ever did a relay again, which, by the way, I'm not an advocate for, if we ever did a relay again, we could actually try and make it like a sabotage snake.
Did you say something about overly specific tests?
Yeah, like you could write tests that make it really difficult to add new logic without breaking the tests in a way of trying to trip up the next person. And it just made me thinking of like a sabotage snake relay.
Kevin, look at the code on the screen right now.
Oh, okay. That's interesting.
Yeah, right. We'll see what it does. I mean, I haven't looked at this JSON string. I don't know what it's actually expecting it to do. I don't know if it's saying like don't run into a wall or like I'm not gonna read all that. We'll figure it out. Standard. Sure. Okay, where else?
Why do you not want to do another relay, Kevin? Too much chaos.
I mean, you know, there's only so much chaos a person can take. Yeah, no, definitely coding badly. I feel like I've sat here for most of the relay, like, I don't really know what's going on here. Which is why the suggestion that we went with was very heartwarming for me.
My tea has arrived.
Exciting. How do you have your tea?
Mint. In a Twilio question mark.
It's a minty. There we are.
So I guess the tests are now passing. I haven't broken anything, it appears. So if I were to... where's it going here? In min-max, we now have... In theory, we now have the rule set name, which we can't log, so we'll just have to trust that it's going to work. I actually might be able to write a test. That might be a good idea. Like maybe now I could write one.
Oh, yeah.
Like if it's wrapped, then you get a different move for the exact same thing. I could just like maybe put it right up against a wall and might be tricky.
That's a good shout actually.
Okay. I guess actually this is something I probably should have looked for already. There's no randomness in the min-max as it's currently implemented? I don't think there is, right? It's just using math.
I believe there is.
It's not using rand.
No.
The heuristic, obviously, we know.
What would you random?
I don't know. I'm just thinking, like, if we wrote tests and it was like, if I put you right up in the corner, do you always go, like, if I put you in the top right corner, do you always go off the board? I mean, maybe it sometimes will go off the board and sometimes not. But it sounds like it at least will do something predictable, right?
Yeah, what happens if it ranks all leaves as the same score? Does it just choose the first off the list or something? Like, how does it actually... Is it going to be possible for us to understand the code enough to find where it chooses the leave? Where does the heuristic get called?
Yeah, maybe we can look. We can just cheat.
Zip together moves and snakes.
Yeah, right, leaves it in the next tree. We run the heuristic over the board.
Right. And there's a payoff table. Okay, so when does it then choose a move from the payoff table?
I think it's down here. So I think, honestly, this is the bit I don't understand. I don't really understand how this all works out. But I'm content to just treat this as like magic sauce. It's just doing something to calculate payoffs. And I'm too lazy to read it and figure it out right now. But I think that's where it's getting the payoff table and actually computing a like what's the best move
Range
given
payoff
all of these
cable.
possibilities.
Yeah. Yep, okay. I have no idea what's going on with that. It's not necessarily deterministic because Go seeds the hash maps for a different IV every time it boots.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. So yeah, it's like if you're gonna put like 1.0 4 times into the hash map for each of your turns,
Yeah.
like who knows what you're gonna get back is the best one, the first 1.0.
Yeah.
Okay, well we just won't rely on that somehow. Okay, so if we go back to where we're creating the rule set, in theory, we should be able to make a different rule set here. So there's kind of two ways we could do this. There's we could just manually do it for each of the standard-ish rule sets. There's actually a bunch of work that's been going on recently in the rules repo. Torben, who I think is in the chat, has been hard at work refactoring a bunch of stuff so that we can actually kind of mix and match the rule sets without revealing too much about where we're going there. And there's a bunch of convenience stuff now for like actually saying, like, give me your rule set, the correct rule set with all the right settings, given this like request. It might be more trouble than it's worth to actually use that right now. I'm kind of wondering if it might be easier to just hand bomb this. So just say like if rule set name
whilst Rob is writing this, so Kevin doesn't want a relay next season. Chat, what should we do? I mean, we have ideas. Any requests from chat? What would we actually only have one more guest lined up. We do technically have an 8th episode, but we don't have a guest lined up because we were going to do everyone, but Penelope's ruined it by being busy with extremely important things. And also, I've ruined it by being disorganized, and we're only 4 weeks away and haven't invited anyone. So.
Also, Penelope, Joe and Kevin finished the Blockly Snake.
What do you mean finish it? It's finished. It works.
It's
great.
finished.
That app is still running. I used it the other day.
To be honest, the idea that Billy had, which led to me exclaiming "sabotage snake." During this, I sent you a private message, Joe, to be looked at later, and the message simply reads "sabotage relay!" exclamation mark Halloween.
But like, if your problem with the relay was that you don't understand the code, what do you think is going to happen in the sabotage?
Oh no, absolutely! I'm digging myself a hole, but.
However, I did just see your other private message, which was that we do have sleepy music on, and you're absolutely correct. Let me
sleepy music.
It
isn't now. This is good. No, this is this
I
is
want
chill.
some hype beast music now.
A couple before it was a bit like, you're just going around the town in an early Pokemon game, and it's all very relaxed. And you fall asleep with the Game Boy Color in your hand. Deplete the battery.
Okay, Penelope said Isolang snakes, so I do still really want. Again, we won't understand anything, but
what's Isolang?
So like esoteric languages, so like white space, brainfuck, like the weird languages, right? Yeah, so I do really want to do esoteric languages, but again, the main problem is that we need to write like a harness web server that uses, because none of the esoteric languages have a web server, because like who's going to write a routing web server in brainfuck? But they do all have file IO, so like we just need to write a harness for it, and then we could do Isolang snakes. Because I tried to do a snake in emoji code once, and emoji code doesn't have a web server. It does have sockets, and I spent far too long trying to write a web server from raw TCP sockets in bloody emoji, and was like, I'm never doing this again.
A little bit less difficult. I like the idea of us writing like 101 snakes in languages we've literally never used before. And it's more of an exercise in like quick learning. And it is about the snakes.
We definitely do that. Definitely do that.
Okay.
Bashful snake season.
all snakes have
like-
to be implemented in Battlesnake or in Bash. I assume
I
that's what that means.
like, you know that like move or that TV trope where like a character will have like a flashback of some otherworldly knowledge that's beyond human comprehension. Like they'll have their brain implanted by an alien or something. That's how I think of the episode of Penelope doing Battlesnake. Just like I have flashbacks of just incomprehensible, otherworldly code flying before my eyes beyond. Yeah, it may as well have been written in Sumerian. I may as well have watched Penelope speak Sumerian for 90 minutes. Is what what that stream was.
I think you used the word eldritch before.
Yeah. A
Okay,
retro
so-
snake using. Oh, go ahead, Rob.
Oh, sorry. I was just going to say I think I did not break it here, which is a good sign.
Excellent.
But it does not do wrapped stuff, which I think we expected because we know that
It does not do
protects
stuff.
itself against wrapped stuff.
Okay. It protects itself against wrapped stuff. What do you mean?
With that possible moves, this guy, I think we were thinking that it is filtering out things like moving off the board.
Got you.
So
Yeah.
even though later the rule set would be like, yep, that's fine, you survived, it's not
Yeah.
even going to consider it because
Because
it
of
thinks
this.
that's an invalid move.
Got you. Oh, so that is being run for our snake as well, not just the other snakes? Okay, I'd misunderstood what this did.
Yes. Yes?
Okay.
I think so. Okay, so I guess if we were to have the rule set name in here.
And then we could just cut out that bounds checking.
Yeah.
Retro Snake using something like COBOL Basic is a very good idea. Again, the problem is we need to find one with like a reasonable web server. What I do really want to do, which is really stupid, has anyone done snakes in Minecraft? Oh my god, we should absolutely try a redstone snake. But again, we'll need a
Redstone snake
harness.
would
Yeah.
be amazing.
Yeah.
Can you get can you run I guess you could run an HTTP server in your own custom
Yeah, you can 100%
Minecraft
use
plugin
it.
or
Yeah,
something?
just use a Java mod for it.
And I've played very little Minecraft, but you can do, like like really complex logic in it using
Yeah.
the red brick thing, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, redstone. Basically, what we're saying there is writing a Battlesnake using NAND gates. I mean, that could be quite fun. Like, because that's what you're coming down to if you're using redstone. It's like maybe we start actually just like trying to write Battlesnake logic using like a digital circuit simulator, and then
That's a
take
good
that
start.
into Minecraft. Yeah.
Yeah, I think porting something like that might be a lot easier than just
Yeah.
starting with somebody running around the map like bashing
Yeah.
at things and trying
Yeah,
to make
like-
a circuit.
By the time you're into Minecraft, there's a lot of things you need to do before you even start writing snake logic. But then he says FPGA Battlesnake. Do you know that's actually not impossible because there's a good friend and contact of Kevin and I, Dr. Alex Bucknell, has volunteered to do an FPGA Battlesnake in the past, and this man has a PhD in FPGA. So if anyone can do it, it'll be Alex Bucknell.
Yeah, I think I've written some VHDL like 10 years ago.
Why? Do you an electronics engineering student?
Yeah, in another life, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't even imagine how to start parsing JSON with something like that. It sounds completely insane and also really fun.
Yeah.
Bringing all the ideas to the table in the chat. One of the ones I started with that I told Joe briefly before the show was actually not about building battle snakes, but visualizing the output of games in interesting ways.
Yeah.
You know, generative art, noise, hardware, maybe stuff like that.
Yeah.
So,
We have
hear me out here.
snakes.
What if we just
Okay.
deleted this entire block? Because shouldn't it be
I'm
protected
sold.
by the rule set? I think.
No. So again, I don't know if this is how it's been used. So, the reason, if I'm remembering correctly, the reason this got written is because to apply the rule set, you need a move for every snake that you're simulating a board state for, and so if you've got 4 snakes on a board, we are, making a reasonable choice for our move, but then we also needed to choose a move for the other snakes we were up against. So we needed to we had this problem in one of the challenges where if we were choosing random moves, those snakes would get themselves killed in stupid ways, and so our snake would think there's an empty board state when there wasn't. And so that's why we ended up implementing this, so that we could generate safe moves for snakes that aren't us, so we can run the rule set. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I also see a comment from Penelope that it's trimming down the tree, which makes sense too, because I guess like we're eliminating our moves where we die, or
Right.
we're probably not eliminating other snakes making moves that kill them.
Right.
So I think this is like, I guess the way we're using this, it's operating the assumption that other snakes are always going to try to make a move that doesn't kill them. Like they're not just
Fair.
like on every turn trying to run themselves
Yeah.
into the wall.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, I guess the simple thing is just to do what I was going to originally do. So if it is the standard rule set, we still do this, and if it's wrapped, we just skip it. Yep.
Oh, that's what I was gonna say. The other stupid language thing. I like the Gentriv one, also because we haven't done something that's not actually writing Battlesnakes for a long time. The other stupid language thing we could do though is I recently discovered that Pico 8 has GPIO with the browser window hosting the cart. So for those who don't know, Pico 8 is a fantasy console, so like it's a fantasy retro console, and it's like a really restrictive programming environment. And you have a very limited amount of space to create a game cart, and then those game carts can be embedded in a web page like Flash games used to be able to, whatever. But yeah, it has 128 bytes to communicate with the web page that's hosting it. So we could write a snake in Pico 8 that's getting the game state over this 128 bytes GPIO wrapper, which would be incredibly aesthetic, an incredibly aesthetic season of Pico 8.
Or because we were talking about it the other day, I wonder whether you can interface with a playdate when they are available.
Heck yeah.
Tax write-off. Tax write-off.
Never mind that I bought it a year ago.
That's honestly, it's terrible. I'm like, can I justify that to the tax man? I think I can.
I don't know if I met the Canadian tax man. Brad, can we expense a playdate?
Each.
And one for Rob as well.
Yes.
I'll take one.
What happens when you turn the crank?
I don't know. Maybe the snake feeds every time.
I think I'd be more interested. I think the crank wouldn't make sense, but I feel like I don't know. I think you write it in Lua, and they have Pulp, which is a game.
Yeah, they do.
Creation interface, but I'm not sure if that would be complex enough to do what we would want. The SDK is freely available now, as is Pulp.
Yeah, but I don't think the Playdate... I guess it must have internet, because otherwise how does it get games?
Yeah, but I'm critical as to whether games will have access to that. My gut's going to say no. But can you imagine getting malware on your Playdate? That would just wreck your day.
Okay, at launch, there's no SDK for netcode, but Panic have said they want to do that.
There we are. That's good, because no one can get a Playdate in the hand yet, so maybe by the time we have one.
They've shipped. The first batch are on the way.
The first batch, yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, Rob, we're just talking nonsense now.
No, that's all good. I like the background thread of new ideas. I think
just like
Pico 8, I actually
annoying
think I
code.
looked at a while back, and I was really curious about whether you could do something like write a snake in it, but I couldn't figure out if it had any sort of like network access.
Yeah. So this is I couldn't figure that out for the longest time, and then found a forum thread about using the GPIO, and I can't find it in Pico 8's docs. only this one forum thread about using the GPIO to make multiplayer games. But yeah, 128 bytes with the web page. So we literally can just take our Blockly Snake, because that's already just sending and returning moves from a web page, and just then work out how
offload that logic to
yeah. How
GPIO.
how many bytes is a Battlesnake board state?
But you could potentially like trim that down before you emit.
Yeah, we'd have to do some kind of representation for it. I was just wondering whether you would even need to.
Birthday card. That's amazing.
You got sorry?
Yeah,
A birthday card using
birthday
nice.
card with
Yeah.
Pico 8 and audio.
Yeah, that's very
That's
cool.
pretty cool.
JSON
Okay.
size analyzer.
So, I think I have stumbled my way into having this compile. So we have a rule set. We're making the wrapped rule set. Probably. We are passing in the rule set name into build possible moves, which is then passing that into filter for valid moves. And then if the rule set name is wrapped, we will skip this whole block here. And then that way we will only be checking anything else here. Head, valid moves. Eliminate neck moves, that sounds fine. Okay. I think that might work.
Nice.
Let's see what happens. Oh my god, it worked.
Yay!
I'll show you.
But only move 25. Is that expected?
Yeah, you'll see.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe.
This isn't a coding badly project, but another thing I really want to do is grab a solar. When Raspberry Pis are available again, is get a solar panel and put up a solar powered Snake. Just it runs as long as there's power. Okay.
I did briefly think about where
Nice.
could you run a Snake, because didn't Twilio do a thing where like they sent a Pi up on a rocket
Yeah, Twilio
and
did
ran
that.
people's
well,
web
it was
pages?
it was a weather balloon. Yeah.
A weather
Yeah.
balloon, but like,
Yeah.
you know, where else could we run it? Could we run it on a
Yeah.
Tesla? Like, could we run it in weird places? That could be fun.
That could be fun. So, are we meant to be just going in a straight line here?
I mean, it might just be. Maybe that's just the best thing to do.
Yeah.
It definitely seemed like he was doing a lot more kind of chasing its own tail
Mhm.
before. But I guess if it's probably building the possible moves in order.
Mm-hmm.
Filter. All moves. Is that just like a. Yeah, okay. Oh, yeah, so this makes sense. I guess it's making the moves in order, starting with up. And unless this guy gets in his way, he's
It just
probably just going
continues
to
up.
always choose up because he's
But then
stayed
why
alive
did it
the
do
whole
a
time.
tail collision?
Oh, that's a good question. You know, I actually misread this and I thought that Springbot was the one that had done tail collision. Huh. I've seen a few things like this in some of the games I was running earlier where it did something surprising. Like, it didn't
Yeah.
seem like it had run into a corner that it couldn't have predicted. It does something like just kill itself unexpectedly, and I don't
Rerun it and
really
see what happens.
know
I
what's
guess.
going on. Maybe it's like an off by one error in how we're
Yeah.
calculating the future board states.
Yeah.
You'd think it would turn right or left there.
Yeah.
We can do another one to see what happens.
Yeah, Kevin, on that idea, I feel like that will end up in us doing some really weird reality show where like we have a Battlesnake running on a Raspberry Pi and we're just like trying to plant it in a Starbucks and leave it there. See how long it runs on their Wi-Fi.
Yeah, I did think it won't fit this setup of us sitting at home. But you know, StreamYard
Yeah.
works on mobiles.
Yeah.
Take it with
It's
us.
just some kind of long-running geocache challenge for the Battlesnake community, where it's the most stupid place you can leave a snake running. So it did it again. So there's just something's gone. But none of the changes you made should affect the behavior this way.
No, they shouldn't. It should only affect whether it'll go off the edges of the board.
Yeah.
So
Which suggests to me that maybe this is leading to a proliferation of game states and something's not getting chosen, but that would be a timeout rather than this behavior, I guess.
yeah, I don't think it's timing out. We'd see an error there.
Yeah.
Just double check. Yeah, 2 milliseconds. It responded quickly enough.
Yeah.
I mean,
Penelope said, did the server actually boot? Did the test pass?
Good question.
Oh yeah, because in Wrapped, a snake will happily run on forever. Yeah, very good point,
I
Penelope.
believe so. Double check this, but I'm pretty sure the way I have the server running and auto restarting, I'm pretty sure it will not. Yeah, I'm not showing it right now, but yeah, the
Right.
server starts. It looks like the tests are passing. Okay, interesting. I mean, maybe through the way this wrapped thing is working, we're actually giving it a lot more opportunity to run into this situation. I mean, before, when it was randomly squirming around the board, it probably was a lot harder for it to run into Springbot's hail. Whereas right now, it's probably quite easy because it's just shooting up through the board every time. So maybe this is a bug that's already been there.
But this should have been a failed. This should have been a death state, so it should have been -1 on score, though, right?
Should have been, yeah. Like, I don't really see how my modifications would have really
Yeah.
caused this, because it should look at that state and say, coding badly's dead, so don't go up.
Let's print some stuff, says Penelope. Easier said than done. We have the one print line, so we can print something one at a time.
Well, I think we can do one turn, and then we're dead. So, does it still work in standard? Let's find out. I'm just running a standard game here.
Oh, I didn't find my Hypebeast playlist.
Yeah, it looks like it worked that time. I mean, it did do a head-to-head collision, but it would have known that it would have won there because it's longer. Just do another couple of them, see if anything surprising happens. It looks normal here. Springbot is just eventually dying, sort of as expected. It's not very smart.
There's nothing in the configuration of the game mode that would mean that the game state generator isn't considering the existence of another snake on the board.
Good question. Considering another snake on the board.
Because that's the other option. Like, if the... Assuming that the heuristic is being run on a game state, it could only be that the rules engine isn't returning an elimination. So...
Yeah. I wonder, could we force this just to have like a really well-scoped test here? Where like maybe I run it on like a 4x4 grid or something. I think 5x5 would be the minimum. And just see if it has a ton of opportunity to run into the other snake. Will it ever do it in standard? Because that might be kind of interesting. So if we made this like 5x5.
Penelope said, did you update the thing that actually runs the simulations to use the wrapped object you created?
I think so, yeah. Sorry, I'll switch my ID.
Yeah.
Those are just looking at snakes running into each other. Okay, so here's what I have done so far. We have a rule set name being passed in, and then based on that, so there's a rule set here, variable being declared. It creates the standard one, and if it's wrapped, it sets it to the wrapped rule set. Actually, here's one thing we can check. If we don't do that at all, I'm going to fix this later. If we do that, test should still pass. And in theory, what it should do, I think, is it should just be a slower version of the standard behavior, right? Because the rule set should rule out any wrapped movements it makes, I think. No, it still runs off the board. Okay. That's interesting. I wonder if I'm just missing something. Like there's just something about the core premise of what we're doing here that doesn't actually work. Like maybe I'm assuming this is going to filter out some states that it actually won't, because we're relying a bit more than we thought on build possible moves.
Think the changes to the move filtering function are wrong.
Could be.
He says.
Let's see.
Can we take another look at that?
Store this. Yeah, one sec. I did write it while listening to Joe and Kevin talk about Pico 8, so that was slightly distracting.
We're very distracting.
Entirely possible just wrote something completely nonsensical.
And we're not being any help whatsoever.
Yeah, exactly. The thing is about this show, if you were coming in and trying to code well, that's our job to wreck that.
We're here to distract you.
Absolutely.
See, now that's a good next season. Joe and Kevin just turn up at some poor developer's house and throw things at them whilst they code for 90 minutes.
Just sit next to them and play games on their playdate.
Yeah. Cranking furiously.
Build possible moves. I didn't actually modify this. Filter for valid moves. So if rule set not equal to wrapped, then we just don't do any of that. I got this backwards, maybe?
Yeah, rule set is not equal to wrapped.
Oh, hang on. Yeah, I think I do have this back. Oh, I see what happened. Yeah, I see what's wrong with it. Yeah.
You need to bring 57 back in outside the conditional. Yeah.
That makes sense.
Thanks, Penelope.
Not invalid. Think about this. Or I guess if think about this here. So valid moves, possible moves. We are what's the best way of doing this? Yeah, a sec. What are we doing down here? We reassign valid moves.
61 could be else valid move.
Oh, I see. We take possible. We make the possible
Sorry,
moves
that's my
instead of
cat.
valid moves. Okay. We just do this. Right. Feel like I can just kind of cheat here and do that. So if we are not in wrapped, then we go through all the moves and see if they look legit. And if they do look legit, then we put them in valid moves.
Mm-hmm.
If we are in wrapped, then we just start off with valid moves being possible moves.
Yeah.
And then put possible moves back to valid moves. And then we'll do the whole thing again with the snake body. Okay, I think that might work. Torben seems positive that I might be right, so we'll roll with it and see what happens.
Oh, that's looking
Longer.
long and powerful. 69. Nice.
Oh yeah, this looks way better. Hang on, I'll share
Cool.
that tab. People can see what happened. And just restart that. Now it's doing wrapped. Yeah, so I guess what was happening is I was saying if you're in wrapped mode, just delete all possible moves. And then I think it must have just been falling back somewhere else in the code that we haven't looked at yet to just up or possibly returning nothing. I'm not sure. Penelope probably remembers what the default is there, but yeah, now it's definitely doing wrapped. It looks
Perfect.
pretty reasonable what it's doing.
Excellent.
Okay, so we have wrapped.
Yeah, same Torben. Absolutely same.
Yeah,
Look at
I don't know
that,
how to really understand a wrapped game, especially with like a smart snake.
Yeah.
With a really dumb snake, maybe, where you just like hand code in some like occasionally go off the side of the map. I think it might not be
Right.
so bad, but
Yeah.
with these like research snakes, it just goes everywhere, and then
Yeah.
you're wondering when it's when it's in trouble, when it's not.
Yeah. Yeah, like some of the snakes in the tournaments where like they've got like 9 body segments coming out of different walls. It's just ridiculous. Implement alpha beta pruning, says Penelope. Sorry, Rob, you can say?
I was going to say, I always kind of enjoy it when you get a snake where they like touch all 4 corners and wrapped, and they're just like wrapping around each edge, which is kind of entertaining. Alpha beta pruning, we could try it. Maybe I should like commit what I've done here.
Look at you following sensible development practices and committing something that while it works.
What was I using format for?
Oh wait, hang on, where are we at time? Oh, we've only got 10 minutes. We're not going to be doing alpha beta pruning in 10 minutes.
Oh, okay, fair enough. I
mean, unless you're feeling particularly bold.
I am not. I could try to like do a real rush job and trying to make it understand hazards. Thought that might be fun.
Oh yeah, that'd be cool. Oh yeah, we said we were going to add to the heuristic, and we added exactly one thing. But hazard seems like it would be easy, right? Like if don't we already? I guess we. You've kind of made it already do hazards with the health thing, I guess.
Yeah, I think when I was looking at it earlier, this might be another case of like the rule set will do it for us, but then actually no.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
I thought maybe if we just told it to actually use the hazard damage, it might just do it for us.
Okay. You mean tell the rule set to use the hazard damage, or tell the heuristic?
The rule set, yeah.
Okay.
Because I think the rule set will know if we died. I'm just gonna these changes all look right.
Yeah. We're not in your IDE, by the way.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. That's probably for the best.
Yes, you do get a lot of things for free if you use the rule set in your Snake AI, and all for the small cost of compiling Go to WASM.
Yeah. The small cost. It hasn't tripped up anybody yet. Wrapped.
But like, I feel like there's a lot more. Like that would just tell us if like a hazard is killing us, right? Whereas like, I feel like the heuristic, we could probably be more sophisticated than that in the heuristic, because there's definitely a payoff to. There are times when you want it to go into the hazard, right? I don't really know what those times are, or how we capture that in scoring.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's probably better to have a heuristic, but let me just see if off the bat, I think I had an example hazard game here.
Oh, Penelope reckons that hazards don't get copied into the data structure that's created. You mean the game state data structure?
Let's see here. So, for starters, hazard damage per turn here is 0. And then maybe there's a game state problem too. Is that what Is that what you're referring to? Or is it just that we don't actually pass in what the hazard damage per turn is on the request? I mean, I wonder if we just like... What if we just hand change that? And then if I copy my hazard example here, I'll just put it in standard, why not? And then I suppose I actually need to set hazard damage per turn. This probably should be a lot shorter. Let's see.
It's exactly that. Torb says, seems to me this relay is really a sabotage Rube Goldberg challenge in disguise. Yeah, it is, I said, like, things didn't exactly go the path we expected, Torb. We had discussed what we thought season 1 of Relay was going to be, and if we did it again, what we would want season 2 to be, and the wonderful relay runners who have come and participated with us just skipped straight to season 2. They bypassed what we had planned for season 1 altogether and just went straight to the nonsense, which we couldn't be more delighted. Honestly, and I've told this story multiple times, when Corey rocked up on that first stream and was like, we're going to be doing Go via WASM in your JavaScript snake, all my hopes and dreams and nightmares came true at once. Would you say it's accurate, Kevin?
The nightmares. yes. Honestly, it's been really, really fun so far, and that is not sarcasm. And the
snake is far better than it has a right to be.
Yeah, honestly, it went off the rails straight away, which just isn't what I expected. I was expecting like a Penelope. I thought it was going to be you. I thought that's where it was going to go off the rails halfway through.
Yeah, if anything, I mean, it's been repaired significantly, I think, in the show before this one. Yeah, I don't know what's going on here. I'm probably just missing something really obvious, but my editor thinks that this is a valid JSON file, and Engine thinks it's an invalid JSON file.
Huh.
What is going on? All I did was add a bunch of hazards. I don't think I screwed up the commas. Yeah, what if we just
I can't think of a reason why. It's not like a property name that's wrong, is it? Oh, there you go.
The other one works, so I obviously broke something when I copied it in. I mean, we can just test that one. So yeah, I mean, I can show it real quick, but effectively what happens is it does not take the hazards into account.
Huh.
I mean, I'm sort of imagining that it'll be smart enough to go through that little hole in the hazards.
just on the heuristic alone, that shouldn't happen. Oh, hang on a second though. It's looking 3 turns ahead. But also, shouldn't it just wrap at this point?
Oh, you know what? I realized something. I think it might actually be doing it right because I think I set the hazard damage to something absurd. 50.
Okay.
There it is. Oh, I wonder if... Is it... Maybe what I broke up here was... It was this. Yeah. That's why. I think Engine's trying to unmarshal that into a map of string to string.
Okay.
So
Penelope still thinks the hazards aren't in the data structure that's being run in.
Like further along, like they're not in the board state or something?
So yeah, the game state, we don't copy the hazards array out of the board into the game state. I think.
Yeah, that makes sense. How do we do that? Let's see. So let's Moves.
If you look at the go, where's some boundary? I don't like that that's a sentence that could be said about our code. The go function that unpacks a JS object doesn't copy.
Where even was that again? Was it
Sorry, I did the IDE dance again.
Hazards.
Rob, can we change back to your IDE? Sorry.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So might be missing something here, but we get hazards out of the board, and then looks like we convert it to pointer.js. So I think it is being put in the board state.
We've got a couple of second delay to get a Penelope confirm on that, if that's what she meant. Oh, there we go. I think we're good.
Nice.
I am wrong.
Okay, cool.
On rare
I don't have to
occasion.
figure that out. Okay, so I might have just like fixed it with my change to my absurd game that I had running here.
Okay.
Now it's actually damage per turn 14.
But even then, like, if it was really high, as you said, that should have just given us that for free, so it shouldn't have gone into the hazard in the first place, especially for 2 turns.
Well, I didn't actually copy it over. I just hard-coded it at 14 in the snake. So I think what might have been happening here is it might have actually been quite smart and been like, okay, if I go down here and I go across this hazard, I have enough health to make it to that food.
Got you.
And it did not, because it thought that the hazard would not kill it, but it did.
Right. I see.
Let's just try this. Huh. Let me just show you that game. That's an interesting one. I think it might be working now, in the sense that working means that it actually just assumes a hazard damage. So it's still going in the hazards, but the hazards didn't kill it.
No.
So I assume it didn't just luck out there.
Health.
I think it...
Can you rewind to when it was within range of the food? So, yeah, I don't know why it wouldn't have gone for that food though.
Yeah, I mean, that is a good point. You'd think the heuristic... Oh, let me think. So you'd think if it was like here, if I understand how we did the heuristic modifications, when it's 3 turns away, it should be like,
detect.
I want to go, oh, you know what? I bet that change we made to the food, to the heuristic, might not even do anything, because what it's probably going to do is like, at this turn, it'll be like, yes, I should move towards that food. And then when it gets to here, or maybe here, it'll be like, I don't care anymore, because there isn't a food within 3 turns.
It's looking free. No, I don't think that should. No, that won't happen. So it's looking 3 turns away, but in 3 turns away, you're still, if you take the food, you're still at a higher health. We are looking for above 90, but that should still catch it in 3 turns. That should still catch it. So yeah, it would still be at higher health if it goes right. Goes down. Why do I always do direction relative to the snake's head? If it goes down, it should be at high health. Yeah,
that makes sense. Yeah, so it should really be working. I don't know. I'm not sure why it's doing that, but it seems to be able to sail through the hazards
until
without dying.
It needs
so
it.
I think it's.
But like, is this second food? I don't really understand. Like why it didn't go for that one.
I have a theory that might be completely misinformed here, that a lot of the time when it dies from out of health, it just like went to the wrong side of the board, and it's too many moves for it to even see itself getting to the food. So if it was over here somewhere and a food spawned over on the left side, it doesn't see any state where it gets the food. So it's not considering any option where the food is.
But it passed that food within 3 tiles, right? Earlier on. Like here. Like why doesn't it go for it here is what I don't get.
Well, I suppose, I mean, who knows what's happening to the heuristic? I don't know why that's not working. But ignoring that, I guess it's still finding a state where it goes down and survives 3 turns later. Yeah. So without the heuristic to actually tell it, yes, you should go get that food now, and you should continue to get that food. I'm guessing.
But that's what the health above 90 is doing, right?
It should be, yeah. I don't know. I mean, we didn't write any tests, so.
That's true. Well, what a mystery.
Okay. Maybe we should call it there. I think it probably isn't going to be all that exciting just to watch me plumb through the hazard damage per turn into the snake.
Yeah. But I mean, it definitely looked like it was working in standard. You've made wrapped work. We now have hazards. I mean, it's not dying in hazards. So that's the thing. It's doing weird things with food, but it's not dying.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
So I think it's in pretty good shape.
We have an
Haven't really made it
actually
worse
decent
much.
snake.
Yeah.
It's kind of
I'll just
scary.
I'll make a bunch of commits after the show, and I'll push a bunch
Yeah,
of changes that like convert all of this back into TypeScript. So
Oh, perfect. Yeah, absolutely.
be
Yeah,
second next person.
we look forward to your stream where you actually write it in raw WASM, where you just do assembly language in the browser. Well, thank you so much, Rob. Let me drop your screen. Thank you so much for joining us so last minute and doing such wonderful additions with so little warning of what was going to happen. You should definitely come join us again and play some game modes. I'm disappointed we didn't get to that. Not that I'm upset the contribution did have. This was our fault for rambling for so long. But we should definitely do that. That'll be fun.
yeah, sounds great. Thanks for having me on the show.
Yeah, thanks for being here. All right, I will slide you off the screen. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Alrighty, thank you again, Rob. Thank you, viewers. So I said this is episode 6. We have one more guest booked, Kevin. We have Alec, who's joining us. Oh yeah, other changes. Patcher Codes was episode number 7. Patcher Codes no longer at New Relic and was joining us from New Relic. We've got Alec joining us, who is a Battlesnake player, who also happens to be an engineer at New Relic. So Alec's joining us for next stream. Kevin, I think stream 8, we should just talk about what's next on Coding Badly. I think that's what we should do. I think we should put the snake in a bunch of games and watch it kick ass while
we chat.
While we chat about what we're doing next season. I think that's what we should
We could do, yeah, because what we did before this season, maybe before the last season, was we just had a call and we just we had this chat. But the chat today has been really wonderful in validating ideas or adding ideas. So why don't we offload the work of deciding what to do to them?
Yeah, that sounds. I think we'll do that. So in 2 weeks' time, we'll be back with Alec, the last relay runner. Alec had looked at the code. I don't know how Alec felt about it. We'll find out. But thank you all for joining us. Come see the conclusion of the Relay Snake next week. Thank you for joining us, Kevin. And we will see you all in 2 weeks' time. I have nothing else to shout out. We're not in the middle of the season. Have a wonderful weekend. Bye.